Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's your guy Cold Fire
and Flyboy.
And today we are going to be reacting to inside Madonna's London home filled with wonderful objects. Vogue. We just ran across this.
Yeah, I think she's doing it for Vogue magazine. Like they're doing a story.
Yeah, and that's her MDNA product. Products that she puts out. That's what she uses. But boy, she still looks good at what, in a little over a month she turned 68 and still looks this damn good.
Yep.
Now we're in my bathroom, which is also referred to as my office. Get a lot of work done here because it's kind of the only room that people leave me alone in. Hi Vogue, it's Mother. Welcome to my London home. Tonight I'm going to be showing you some of my favorite things, the objects of my affection. I'm standing in my office. This is the mothership. Actually, I don't do a lot of work at my desk. It's a bit too formal. Mostly, I have an excellent sound system in here, so when I'm listening to mixes of my music that I'm working on, I sit on this couch, I dim the lights, I light some incense, and vibe. Tonight I want to show you one of my favorite objects in the whole world. It's a painting that Frida Kahlo painted of herself. She often painted herself with monkeys on her shoulders. She did have a lot of monkeys, but the reason that she had them is because she trained them to let her know when her husband had been sleeping with another woman. If he came home from his studio and he was having a good time with one of his female models, which he did often, the monkeys would go mad, and then she would know, and then she would punish him accordingly. But then there's a history of the painting and how I came to have it. In high school, there was only one museum that you could go to. It was called the Detroit Institute of Arts. The first time I came there were these huge Diego Rivera paintings all over the wall, murals. But what I was really drawn to were the small photographs kind of hidden away of this beautiful Mexican woman. And I just was really taken by her self-possession and unique beauty, and it really moved me. And she became a kind of eternal muse for me. A few years later, I moved to New York from Detroit, Michigan, and I started walking around, and there was a street fair, and I saw this postcard, and it was this painting. This is my first 5 minutes in New York, and the first person I see is Frida. From that day on, I kept her with me wherever I went. I got a thumbtack or a nail, nailed it to the wall, and she was like my guardian angel. And I vowed to myself one day I would own that painting. Cut to 11 years later, that painting came on auction, and she was mine. If you're a struggling artist and a woman struggling in the world and you feel like an outsider, then you can make a connection to Frida. She's just so like, don't fuck with me. So she gives me a lot of strength.
Isn't that odd though? You know, Madonna came to New York with only $35 to her name. She runs across a postcard, sees her in a gallery, and then 11 years later, because that's when she hit it big. It took her like, what, 5 years to hit it big?
Yep.
And that was the first painting she bought when it went on auction. That's like the universe working in your direction.
In your favor, yeah.
What you give to the universe, I believe, is what you get back.
Yeah.
If you throw negativity out there, you're going to get negativity. Positivity will bring you positive vibes. Yeah. Okay.
We are now in the hallway, which has now become a dressing room because I don't have any room for any more clothes. What I want to show you next are my beloved YSL boots that were made for me 21 years ago when I was doing shows for Confessions Part 1. I love these boots, and they've really lasted and stood the test of time. They fit incredibly well. They're really comfortable for dancing. I like being connected to the Confessions Part 1 now that I'm doing Confessions Part 2. And there's like energy in them. And they support my feet. And I'm sure they have something to do with my dancing. I don't know, they're just the perfect shoe. I've worn other boots, I've worn other shoes, and these are magic.
Wow. Could you imagine lacing those things up though?
I like to have art in my bathroom as well. A few of my favorite pieces
oh my
are these
goodness.
penis sculptures, or my collection of cocks, as I like to refer to them. I have 4.
Collection of cocks.
2 small and 2 big. The name of the artist is Anderson Asterkleinis. He's a young Brazilian artist. Right now, he's a part of the program that Tracy Emin runs. So I went to visit Tracy and I met Anderson. I also bought one of his paintings recently, and it was about his relationship with his mother. And I asked him, is your mother proud of you? Has she seen your paintings? Do you show her your work? And he said, no, I think it might disturb her, and I don't want to upset my mother ever. He told me that every one of his paintings were in some way about her. I actually almost started crying. I was very touched by his story and said goodbye to him after spending some time with him. He came running after me with this brown paper bag, and he said, oh, I want to give you something. Got in the car, started driving home, and I opened the bag, and it was these beautiful penises. They're just really lovely, and here they are.
They're just really
objects
lovely.
of my affection.
They're objects of my affection. Oh,
I like to keep a lot of notes and mementos, and I'm very sentimental and romantic, especially about my family. So I have a lot of things here that I just hang and tape to the wall. It's nothing. It's very informal. This rosary that my grandmother gave to me a few years before she died. It belonged to my mother. A simple rosary, it's made of wood, and my mother was very religious, and she prayed every day. Every bead of this rosary, she said the Hail Mary. You may have noticed in the beginning of my career, I wore lots of crucifixes around my neck, which was more a tribute to my mother than Catholicism, to be honest. Here are some post-it notes that my daughter, Esther, wrote to me when she first started to write and speak in English when she was 5 years old. I am sorry, Mom. She must have done something bad. I don't remember what. Here's a picture of her behind my back, looking very mischievous. And
looks just like her
here
mother.
in this corner of priceless items is my mother's perfume called Fracas. And whenever I miss her, I just spray it on. And I smell like gardenias and tuberose. And then finally,
now I know why there was a thing where they said that she was being a bitch because she was at this table and it was kind of like a conference, and this guy bought a big old bouquet of gardenias, and it pissed her off, and she tossed them onto the floor because she was having a moment in time where she was like still struggling with I believe that she was working on her Like a Prayer album where she dedicated the song I Promise to Try.
Yeah.
Because she didn't get to kiss her mother goodbye.
Yeah.
Can't kiss her goodbye, but I promise to try.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that gardenias were her mother's favorite flower. So I can understand the reason why she was, didn't want those in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
They probably distracted her. So she created a fragrance that her mother wore that made her smell like her mother.
That's pretty cool.
That's...
and tuberose. And then finally, we have a music box that someone made for me, and it plays my favorite song, Bella Ciao, which is basically the song of the Italian partisans during World War II who were fighting against the dictatorship, against fascism, and that kind of spread across Europe as a kind of anthem.
I bet those are real on her fingers.
The next object of my affection is this beautiful sculpture made by my son Rocco. It was actually the first sculpture he's made. He gave it to me for my birthday last year, and I burst into tears. I love it when my children give me art, even if whether it's writing a song or painting a painting. And he's quite a talented painter. He's been painting since he's 15. I'm looking forward to him growing as an artist and trying out other mediums, and I just think this is incredible. He's the best person to go and see a great show with, because he appreciates it as much as I do. I've dragged them to places all over the world and tried to share my love and knowledge and appreciation of art, and I think it's really rubbed off on them, thank God. So now we are in my living room, which I call the blue room because everything's blue. It's a bit obvious. And this is a very small painting over here by Frida Kahlo also. It's called My Birth, probably a decade after I bought the Frida Kahlo self-portrait. And I was at a person's house, and an elderly man came in the room, and we started talking about Frida Kahlo. And he said, "Oh, I have a small painting of hers in my cupboard, in my armoire." He pulls out this painting. I sat there holding it, thinking, oh my God, what is this doing in a cupboard? Eventually he sold it to me. Basically, the story behind this is that Frida never felt like she was connected emotionally to her mother. She felt shunned by her in a way. Her mother didn't care whether she existed. So she portrays her mother in this painting with a sheet over her head, kind of detached from the whole situation, detached from Frida. And I grew up without a mother. So again, I could relate to her story immensely. I just love the painting. It's something very near and dear to me. The style of the painting is also really beautiful because it's based on a style of painting in Mexico called retablo, where they paint martyred saints or holy figures and they write underneath a whole story about the person in the painting. She never finished writing on the bottom. And above the bed is the Virgin Mary with two swords going through her neck. So it's quite a dramatic piece. It's quite violent because her head hanging on the sheet with the blood underneath it. She's not completely out of her mother's womb. Pretty powerful image.
Very powerful.
So now finally we are in my bedroom, and when I get to this room and I'm in this position, I'm so happy. I collect books, and I'm really fond of first edition books, but these two books are my favorite. This is an Italian book written about Luchino Visconti, who's a filmmaker I love, adore. He made one of my favorite films called Rocco and His Brothers because of this movie.
You know, she has to have a very high IQ.
Oh, I'm sure she
I mean,
does.
think about it. I mean, look at the book she reads.
Yeah. I know she has. I mean, it's
And the
it's a known
artwork,
fact.
and the fact that she knows about all these art.
artwork. It's a known fact that she's got a high IQ, I believe. I think it's like, what, 150 something?
Well, yeah, she was accepted into. She got a full scholarship to the University of Michigan before she even graduated in 11th grade.
Yeah.
And she didn't want people to know her IQ when she came to New York because she thought that people would treat her differently if they found out that she had a high IQ, and so she kept it hidden.
Yeah.
So
Smart cookie.
Yeah.
Smart cookie.
She wanted to earn it on her own merit,
Right.
so to speak.
Good
If
job.
that makes
Called
sense.
Rocco
Good job.
and His Brothers. Because of this movie, I named my son Rocco. And the other book is a book by Simone de Beauvoir, the ultimate feminist. This is written in English, this is written in Italian, so this one I can only admire and look at the pictures and hold it in my hands. This one I can read. And over here, this beautiful blanket that my daughter Esther crocheted for me. During quarantine, my daughters learned how to knit and crochet when everybody was locked in their houses. She made it for my birthday. I love it. It's so soft. Everybody should touch it. Now that she plays football, she just doesn't crochet for me anymore. And now, I am ready for bed. This is my doo-doo.
Oh,
Her name is Octavia. I sleep with her every night. A couple of years ago, I was really sick in the hospital. I was in a coma, and this beautiful nurse that was taking care of me, her name was Olivia. She was screaming at me every day, telling me I needed to get up, I needed to get out of the ICU, and she really gave me a lot of courage and hope. When I got out of the hospital and came home, my sister gave me this octopus. I looked at her, and all I could think about was my nurse who took care of me. So I didn't want to name her Olivia exactly after her, so I called her Octavia. She's been with me ever since. Stuffing is starting to get kind of gross, but I love her, I adore her.
she's really
These have
getting
been the
personal.
objects of my affection. And now I'm going to go to sleep. So, good night, everybody. Get out of my bedroom.
Get out of my bed. I'm tired. I want to sleep, she says.
Oh, I got tears in my eyes whenever she was like, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah.
When she was talking about how what'd she say?
Olivia,
Yeah, the
nurse.
because I remember when that happened because it was shortly right after my heart attack. It was only a couple of months after my heart attack, which most people don't survive.
Right.
You know, you have a massive heart attack, you're 98% blocked, and for some ungodly reason, something woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I just fell asleep at 12. I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I could feel a little bit of chest pain, but I thought it was the GERD, because I was getting ready to have my GERD surgery.
Yeah.
And so I walked around the bed, and I didn't want to wake Chris up because I knew he had to get up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, because this is when he worked at PetSmart. So, or was he? Yeah.
No, Amazon probably. PetSmart ain't open at 4 unless they do their truck.
Yeah, he had to do truck.
Oh.
Yeah, and fish and stuff like that came in early. And I remember that I was at the foot of the bed, and it started in my chest, and then all of a sudden it went to my back, and it felt like both of them were pushing together. And so Chris doesn't usually wake up whenever he falls asleep. He's in a deep sleep. But he just woke up and looked at me, and he started talking to me. And I thought I was talking normal. But he said I was slurring. He couldn't understand a word I was saying. But I felt like I could understand everything that was coming out of my mouth. So all I knew is he was getting me in the car, and I'm like, where are we going? He's like, we're going to take you to the ER. Something's not right. He said, the GERD's probably pushing on your, causing you to have chest pains or something. So, we get to the hospital, and I actually get out of the car. Now, keep in mind, I'm 98% blocked, having a massive heart attack. I get out of the car, and I walk into the emergency room and sit down. And the nurse comes over, and she's like, what's going on? And I said, my chest is killing me, and my back is hurting real bad. And I feel like they're pushing together. She's like, okay. She took my blood pressure, and it was like 200 and something over 190 something.
Damn.
I didn't know the numbers what it was, because I had just took 6 milligrams of Xanax to go to sleep for my PTSD.
Yeah.
So I go in there, and I lay down in the bed, and they come into the room, and there's a cardiologist. He's on call. He comes into the room, and he said, he called me by my name. He's like, you just had a massive heart attack. You're 98% blocked. We have to get you in surgery now. And I'm like, do what? I said, I have GERD. But you know what? It was like, whenever he told me that, I felt this calming sense just flood over me. Like, I didn't feel no pain. I didn't feel sadness. I didn't feel happiness. I felt at peace. That's how lonely I was from being home all the time. And this was before we had anybody around staying with us. Yeah. And it hurt his feelings, because when they were... First of all, they did 12 times they tried to do an IV in me. And my veins kept blowing. Yeah. So they brought an ultrasound machine in to find a vein to get an IV in. And I remember they wheeled me out of the room. And I didn't mean to say it this way, because I don't know if they gave me medication or not. I'm sure they did. But I remember looking at Chris. I said, tell my babies that I love them, all of our little dogs. Mm-hmm. And I guess it's my time to go. But I didn't tell him I loved him. Yeah. But that was, I guess when you're in a daze like that, you don't think about all the things that you need to say. Yeah. Or you just weren't thinking clearly. Things hanging out my ear, like, I guess I don't really need it in my ear right now. But, yeah. But long story short, they got me in the operating room, and they had a sheet right over me, and I was awake the whole time while they were doing the surgery. But then I was out, and I woke up, and there was a nurse in my face. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, just checking on you. We have to give you some more pain medications. I'm like, y'all keeping me drugged up. I can't even stay awake. But they were like in front of my face, like every 10 minutes it seemed like. I could never get no peace and quiet. Yeah. And I finally looked at the woman. I'm like, are y'all ever going to just let me sleep? And she's like, well, you had a massive heart attack. We have to keep an eye on you every 15, 20 minutes. And because I'm a disabled veteran, they were really concerned about that, because $47,000 was the bill.
Damn.
And the VA took care of everything. Thank God.
That's awesome.
Because we were bankrupt. But to make a long story short, I really enjoyed that because I learned a lot from this.
It's an insight into her personal life.
Yeah,
Like
she is getting like things that a biopic could give you. I mean, she's talking about Frida Kahlo, and I know that she loves her because in Madame X, whenever she's doing God Control, you'll see a Frida picture on the thing when she's typing on the typewriter.
Yeah.
But she's always admired her, and now I see why. She trained the monkeys. How did she train the monkeys?
How does she train? I don't know.
To know that they were
I
cheating.
know why she. I know why she trained the monkeys, but I don't know how she trained them.
Yeah, how would you train the monkeys to know maybe a different scent?
I guess
maybe she put on her perfume, so the monkeys would be used to her perfume or cologne or something.
Could be.
Or her fragrance. So when they smelled another different type of fragrance, they go crazy.
That's probably what I'm thinking. Yeah.
But then her son Rocco made her a head statue, and she was almost about to cry at that point.
Yeah.
And then she was talking about how her little daughter Esther, her little notes, and then her mother's crucifix, her grandmother's crucifix, not her mother's, but her grandmother's
I thought
crucifix.
It was her mother's.
No, she said belonged to her grandmother, which was given to her mother.
Oh, okay. It was passed down.
And then she used a lot of those in her videos, but she wasn't honoring Catholicism, she was honoring her mother.
Right, I know. Yeah.
So, anyways, babbled enough about that. But that was inside Madonna's London home, filled with wonderful objects for Vogue. I thought this was completely fascinating, and she looked completely beautiful, radiant, just clear skin. She must exfoliate the shit out of herself.
Yep. And she eats cleanly.
And she does. She has a beautiful home. But that's just her London home. That's not even her New York home.
Right.
Anyways, from the U.S. to wherever you are in this great big old world, we send you all of our love, hugs, and kisses. And we will see you on our next video reaction. Love you guys. Bye-bye.